There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM. With even more exclusive content, with over 150 channels in your vehicle, including the widest, deepest variety of music, ad-free. Root for your team. Get news. Listen to whatever makes you laugh. And hear all about your favorite stars. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels filled with music and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video. Thousands of hours of shows and performances on demand. What you love is on now.
Well, if you're a car audio geek, especially when it comes to high-end gear, you've come to the right show. The Ground Zero, the brand born in the US but now resides in Germany, has been dropping some bombs with some heavyweight gear that just came out in the Ultra series of amplifiers. We're going to learn all about that today. This is CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. Ground Zero, and it starts now. What's going on, everybody, and thanks for tuning in to another CMA Connected presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Attention all car audio, audiophile geeks and nerds just like myself. This whole month is dedicated to audiophile gear. And I'll tell you, this is one that I've been looking forward to all season long. Not because I'm not interested, all the stuff in 12 volt interests me, but I do have a certain, extra passion when it comes to high-end audio gear. It's just something that drove me in and really lured me into the industry so many decades ago. But today, we're in for a treat. Ground Zero, a brand that is literally has a catalog about as wide and as dynamic as you can possibly have, but nonetheless hitting with some major news, dropping this new Ultra series of amplifiers, which has got the industry kind of in a buzz. And we're here at CMA Networks is going to get you the scoop. So here we go. Let's start with, of course, inviting our partner in Canada who distributes Ground Zero, Importel's 12-volt Viking himself, Mr. Jaron Jelmalan. What's going on, Jaron?
How's it going, Ben?
Fun times. Looking forward to this one. In our kind of preamble leading up to this show, I was just taken aback with what's going on with Ground Zero, and I am super excited to have our special guest today kind of shed some light on all the hype and also hear from you, your opinion on, the brand itself, especially for our Canadian dealers.
Well, the brand itself is huge for us. Ground Zero is a great partner to deal with. They're a huge brand, huge catalog, like you said. Everything from high-end audiophile that we're talking about now, the fun of car audio, I say. It's just a great brand to be partnered with. And let's be honest, remote starters, ADAS is all great stuff, but this is the fun stuff.
This is the fun stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Most of the guys are here for this.
There's no doubt about it. So today, like I said, Ground Zero's got a really big catalog, but we're going to narrow that down right up to the top. So make no mistake, we ain't talking about no $99 coaxials on this show. No, sir. We are going straight to the top, and we're going to get pretty extreme with it. But I'm not going to spoil it for our next guest. He is the Director of Operations for Ground Zero USA, our good friend, Jacob Brown.
What's going on, everybody?
What's going on, Jacob? I'm so happy you made the time to join us today. This is going to be an exciting show. This is fun. We're talking about high-end stuff. I know you geek out on it just like we do. Ground Zero isn't necessarily known for fitting into one silo exclusively, as we've learned, right? You've got SQ, you've got Pro, you've got just fun, street sound. And then you've got this category called audiophile, which we're going to focus on today. I'd like to hear, in your words, speak to us a little bit about where Ground Zero kind of fits everywhere.
Well, and it's one of the things, truth be told, the Ground Zero brand started as a car audio geek, building car audio geeky things, and has developed ever since. So it's always that moment of, what's new, what's fun, what's exciting, what can we do? But being that Ground Zero is distributed in as many countries as we are, which I think is 70 something at this point, or over 70, we also have to develop products for markets. So you might look at Southeast Asia, for example, where you've got a lot of high-end SQ, but you also have a lot of Pro SQ, or that SQ plus, or turn it up to 11 but want detail and accuracy. So the product line has to be versatile. And the way that we operate is it all has to meet like our standards, our listening styles, our everything. So it's not just a Pro company that makes Pro speakers, or an SQ company that makes SQ speakers, or an Uber boutique that makes some of the most phenomenal audiophile products available. We cover the full gambit and really have fun doing all of it. So I think that's why it's so cool and different and fun, is that it doesn't matter who you are, we got something for you.
Yeah, and no, you don't need to look any further than some of the demo vehicles that you've been presenting recently at some of the K-Fest shows and some of the videos that we've seen online. Really, it's a wide line. It's got something for everybody, and there seems to be something new. Like every time you're coming on, there's something new to talk about. Last time you were here, was it yourself or was it Andy? We were talking about the new Pro drivers, for bike with the red baskets, and then today we're talking about the top. Obviously, uranium is going to be on the menu. And then I mentioned something in the intro that I'm going to touch on right now. This new term, ultra. Are we talking about that today? Tell me yes.
Yeah. But you keep saying ultra amplifiers, and it's not just an amp.
Correct me.
There's other stuff with it, and
this is why you're here. So an ultra series. Let me, for the record, the new ultra series. I've seen a couple reviews coming in from Europe and stuff like that, so I know we're going to talk about that. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We've got a video. This is going to be about uranium speakers, which we're going to touch on today. But just to get you a look and feel, if you're discovering Ground Zero for the first time, let's roll the tape and we'll be back.
Jacob here with Ground Zero, excited to finally be able to have this conversation with you guys. What I'd like to do today is introduce you to the new uranium. I'd like to just cover a quick couple of points as to why this is so exciting for us to be able to bring to you, and why I think it's really going to be beneficial for your customers, your installers, and really a cool set of speakers. The mid-bass driver is where I'd like to start. We built this driver from the ground up. All new basket, custom tooled for us, a new motor design that's something we haven't really used before, a larger coil than something we would normally go for. What we really try to do with the mid-bass driver is to eliminate distortion, add driver control, give the ability for this driver to dig deep, sound phenomenal doing it. The downfall of some of the things that we've done is that it makes the cone a little heavier. And because of that, we went with a 28 millimeter tweeter, and that's where I'd like to introduce you to this. Our 28 millimeter silk dome tweeter is something that some of you might be familiar with if you've purchased or used or heard the 25th anniversary edition set of radioactive components. This is the same tweeter. We built that 25th anniversary edition kit to really showcase what we're trying to accomplish with the new uranium as a whole. So we've got a 28 millimeter silk dome coated tweeter that's an open back. It's one of the interesting things that we decided to do with this was eliminate the chamber and allow the driver to breathe. Each actual tweeter is hand built and hand tuned. So when you flip it over and look at the back side, you see a little bit of cotton in the vent. That particular amount of cotton is supposed to be in that particular driver. That just goes to show the level of detail that we really put into this set of components. One of the things that I'm really excited about with this line is this is going to be the first product series that we bring in, the first in a level for a la carte. So what that'll give you guys is the ability to say I'm doing a two-way, active, you order tweeters, you order mid-bass drivers. I'm doing a three-way, passive, you order mid-bass, mid-range tweeter, and the crossover. The crossover is going to be designed for a quasi-active setup, so you're still going to want to run a 4-channel amplifier and everything to go along with it. But really this allows you to fine-tune and custom tailor these particular products to your install. This, like I said, it's been a long time in the making. We've known about it for quite some time, but really what this is doing is showing an entire new level of what Ground Zero has to offer.
I don't know about you, but I like that guy. That fellow there, I like that dude. He knows what he's talking about. You, I don't know. The beer is not the same. You kind of want to be that guy, but anyhow.
I miss it a lot.
Well, listen, that was just a taste of the attention to detail and the caliber of product that we're talking about today on today's show. At this point, I know you and Jared kind of put together a presentation that'll cover all these questions that I've already thrown at you. And of course, naturally, I will have more. But I want to give you an opportunity to kind of walk through what we're, all the higher end products and the components within the range. And then I'd like to come back and we can have a deeper discussion and dive deeper. All right.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Let's set them up with their presentation and away you guys go.
So one of the things, regarding Ground Zero, again, is the plethora of products. And I mean, we're not going to cover everything in the SQ series, for example. Again, that's one of the umbrellas that's kind of covered by Ground Zero, but we're going to kind of focus on some of the more eccentric products. So, we go into, when we talk about the detail and the attention that we pay to drivers and amplifiers and everything along those lines, things like, and you're seeing here the ESA awards, this is the European Image and Sound Association. This is something like 29 countries that come together to evaluate products. And when we get to say things like our new amplifier or our new series or this amplifier and speakers bring home an ESA award, it's not just like a pat on the back. It's truly saying that this is some of either the greatest products manufactured or set the new bar for this year. So you'll see a lot of products, anybody who has the ability to credit themselves with an ESA award really did something that stood out. So when you look at some of the awards that we've got, we've got, I think 13 or 14 ESA awards at this current point in time to date. And again, we've got groundbreaking things, we've got revolutionary things, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff that really started a certain segment of the industry. So again, you just see here, these are Top Hi-Fi Magazine awards, these are ESA awards, these are just a bunch of the recognized items in the industry to be able to say, hey, Ground Zero really does set themselves. So moving from awards, just things that we do, it makes a lot of difference to be able to talk about the products and the pedigree of the products. So, when we start working into the audiophile stuff, I'm not going to lie here, I'm not the most audiophile person. I'm not the most tweaky engineering person. I'm one of those guys that looks back and says, this is something really fun. This is why we did it. And this is what we're trying to accomplish. So, to kind of let Jaron take over a little bit with some of what we're going to talk about here, just the real quick, what we want to focus on. That way we can kind of preface you into what the next couple of slides are going to be and how we're going to discuss this product line.
Yeah, like with the wide lineup that Ground Zero has, like Jacob's touched on, there's different segments of SQ that we can go into, but we really want to focus on that high quality audiophile sound, and this is what this episode is about. So Ground Zero develops some of the top product lines that we want to talk to, and Ben kind of touched on the product series Ultra. Ultra is probably at the top level of what Ground Zero has ever produced, in my personal opinion. Some of their other product lines, when you hear them, you're just amazed by those speakers and the sound. So these Ultra series that we're going to get into are just going to be next level, I think, out there, just right at that upper echelon. And then we also want to talk about the other series, the plutonium and the nuclear, nuclear, uranium, that Jacob touched on earlier there. So we'll let Jacob talk about the big one coming out.
So yeah, this is really our revamp. As many of you know, if you followed our product line, we've had a reference series for quite some time. The driver configuration of that reference series was, in my opinion, second to none, unless you really approach, again, Uber Boutique, where you've got a manufacturer specializing in nothing but that particular series of speakers or that particular driver. This is really, to be honest, a company that still has to deal with mass production. So, we cater to every market. We cater to every aspect of the industry. So this series of drivers is something from us built from the ground up. This amplifier is going to pull on the heartstrings of some of you old school guys. And when we really look at the development of this line, it's almost a throwback to car audio and what a lot of us really kind of experienced in those original high-end builds, only with all of the modern tweaks. So as we see here, we've got the Ultra A2. This is let's put it what it is. This is a British English built dual mono. So that translates to a name that everybody here recognizes. And it's really cool to be able to hand over the reins of amplifier design to someone who tried, their whole ethos is, I want to build the best that I can build. And when you hand these kind of people modern technology and I don't want to say an unlimited budget, but let's call it what it is, you get something like the Ultra A2. So we've got a true dual mono. We've got an English built dual mono. We really designed this amplifier to work with DSPs. So you're going to notice things like on the control panel, you have a bias adjustment. We've talked about the adjustable bias on a lot of the ground zero amplifiers to adjust for current. So either the amplifier behaves more like a Class A or it behaves more like a Class AB and generating slightly more power. We've also got a 4-position gain. So instead of the complete and utter pot adjustments, things like that, we've got Swiss-built switches. So it allows us to build an amplifier that sticks to its threshold and its tolerances. So in the 1 volt position, you are set at 1 volt. There is no 1.1, 1.2, 1 or 9.90 in that gain adjustment. You are locked in at 1. So in the gain position, we've got 1, 2, 4, and 8 to work with a wide variety of digital sound processors and other source units, preamps, anything along those lines where you might want to run a true 2-channel audio build on this, build a passive crossover network. You can run a vacuum tube preamp into this thing straight from a high-end audio device, and in a car recreate that 2-channel listening environment. The adjustable bias is on off. Essentially, it's high-low. So we've got, again, fixed tolerances. We know how the amplifier is going to behave if you provide it the signal that it's asking for. You'll notice things on that middle picture. Is that a liquid cooling port? That's a thought process that's long gone, because again, if you're running a Class A amplifier that is behaving like a Class A amplifier, you need to cool that thing. Otherwise, it's an egg cooker. So again, we've really thought about all these things. The only commonality between the boards is these 2 adjustments. Everything else, separate power supplies, separate output devices, separate signal pass. Everything is truly a dual mono in this build, with the exception of 2 switches. So it really does help us try and develop the amplifier that we wanted. I mean, Top Hi-Fi or which magazine was it? Basically, when they tested the amplifier for distortion because of the way we've designed it, it is one of those things that we really design it to say, hey, there's no distortion. We basically have to rescale the maps. So again, this amplifier is so crazy in that it produces no distortion. It produces almost all channel separation. It's as if you're running 2 separate monos, and it's really, really ridiculous how that works. So again, the Ultra A2 is the epitome. It is superlative in nature. It is completely unnecessary unless what you're looking for is the 100% accurate representation of or recreation of music. Jaron, did you have anything that you wanted to mention about this amp?
Well, you said unnecessary. I think it's completely necessary if you want to go that high end. Like, if there is a market for these products, and all these companies that are a part of these audiophile episodes have shown it. If you build it, they will come, right? It's a little cliche, but it's very true. If you build a high quality amplifier that people are going to see the value in, then of course that's why you build this stuff.
Well, and the thing for me, and with the amplifier and what we transition to when we start discussing the new Ultra speakers, this is not for the guy who just has a massive budget. This is for the guy who, when you are talking to him, he's got that, hey, my listening room is $250,000. It's completely packed with Macintosh equipment. I've got old school electrostats, and it's the guy. It's for that esoteric customer. I believe that would be the best word to describe it. It's for that guy or that girl or that customer that knows exactly what this song should sound like in the complete perfect environment. Now, granted, we're talking about cars, but that is where we start talking about speakers. How does a speaker adapt to its environment? And again, Ground Zero really had to bring in something that is unlike anything we've ever built. So even if you're looking at our old reference speakers, this is not just an updated version of that. The Ultra A2 amplifier is not just an updated version of the reference. So it's really cool, this set of speakers, which also the entire pair, the entire 3 parts of this series are all ESA award winners, which is outstanding to have right out of the gate, brand new product. So what we have here is a 30 millimeter fabric dome tweeter, so 30 millimeter coil, fabric dome, and essentially a chambered waveguide assembly. So we have really taken everything that can happen to a speaker, tried to control it, tried to do what we needed to be able to do with it to make one of the best, if not, as we feel, the best tweeter applicable for a car environment. So this is again not something that's going to be an easy drop in. If you can fit a mid-range, you can probably fit this tweeter. If you can fit a tweeter, not going to happen. It's something like 76 millimeter OD on the mounting flange. It's 50 millimeters deep. That chamber in the back is a custom tooled, custom engineered chamber to help break up standing waves and control what the back of the tweeter is doing inside of the driver itself. We've got, again, you can see in the picture, custom milled installation parts for this particular driver. It's just really cool to see the thought process and the care put into this tweeter. And again, it's all engineering. It's uncompromising. It is, to paraphrase some of the reviews, the best thing you're going to get in a car. So, we couldn't just release a tweeter. We had to release a mid-bass driver. And this mid-bass driver is exactly what we needed it to be to pair with that tweeter. So it's not going to knock your socks off when it comes to mid-bass output. It's not designed for that. This isn't a crazy daily listener type mid-bass. This is a 100% custom milled basket assembly, not a cast basket, not a single piece. It's bolted together, it's screwed together. They've done the due diligence to try and figure out how these parts need to interact with each other. It's a absolutely beautiful, high quality Neo motor. We've got a copper coil wound around on a fiberglass former attached to a one-of-a-kind, first in its class fiber cone with a small surround. So when we look at what mechanical losses are happening or what componentry losses are happening, we've tried to eliminate as much as possible. So you are getting truly a raw driver that is going to do exactly what you think this driver is supposed to do. Now, mind you, again, this whole series is designed to work with a subwoofer, which is in development. If you want to go the route of a 3-way, we're working on a mid-range driver to basically complete this ultra concept. But again, everything that we're being told we accomplished with this set of components is true to form what we all equate to the concept of audiophile is supposed to be. Jaron, you've got anything on what your thoughts are on this thought process?
Yeah, when we had first spoke about it, Jacob, like the aluminum basket that's machined and bolted together, like even a detail as fine as that, but the tolerances you needed to machine something and then bolt it together for a speaker, where most of them are cast or one piece together, not assembled together in individual pieces, like the individual spider being assembled together. That just shows the detail and precision that they've gone through for these speaker sets to really get the best out of them. And I think that surely shows in the high quality audio that they're going to output.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the whole thought process of uncompromising, the thought process of do the things we've never done before, re-engineer or everything in-house and not rely on outside assistance. It's really crazy what we've done with this. So that's Ultra in a nutshell. It's when no holds bar needs to put up or shut up. I truly think that the Ultra series is going to accomplish that. It's going to give you that this is exactly what I needed mentality. Now, again, this isn't to say that Ultra is the only audiophile product we make. If you've paid attention to our previous conversations, the Plutonium reference series. So this is our old style of products. These amplifiers have been in constant development and update and reform through their entire lifespan. So, you can see on the display behind me, this is one of our earlier versions that was a vacuum tube preamp. We've continued to develop this entire series and keep it on par with maintaining that reference name. So, the reference amplifier series is going to maintain and continue to move forward so that we've got a really gnarly, maybe politely saying a more costly effective option than the A2. The A2 is not necessarily going to be your default for a mid-bass or subwoofer. So, you can utilize something like one of the reference 4s or reference 2s to be able to kind of fill that void with still an almost uncompromising sound signature and ability. Again, these amplifiers still have the adjustable bias, so you can change their behavior, phenomenal custom built parts inside. So again, this isn't just an off-the-shelf amplifier. We really wanted to maintain that reference name as an entire series and not just replace it with Ultra and say everything we did in the past wasn't right. So again, this is an awesome series of amplifiers that we've all fell in love with, and we wanted to kind of hang on to them. So
yeah, it just goes to show that these are still great products, great amplifiers that you've built, and you've added another level on top of that. But the level just below is still a very high quality amplifier and still has great audiophile output on it.
Yeah, and that's again one of the things that we do. You had kind of noticed that we had reference Ultra. This series of amplifiers is the Plutonium reference. So that kind of brings us to our next level down, which is our Plutonium series. If you've had the luxury of hitting any of the Knowledge Fests as of late, you will have seen or seen the videos of Tommy Spears' Daily Driver Camry. That is a full Plutonium build. So it's 2 4-channels, 2 2-channels, absolutely a wicked combination. It's a 3-way Plutonium front end and 2 Plutonium 10s. So again, we've got this phenomenal SQ/audiophile mindset of drivers and of, again, ESA award-winning products that the industry as a whole says, hey, you guys knocked it out of the park with this. And again, these are older drivers, but they are currently under the knife. So it's a product line that we're still developing. We're still, well, not still developing, but we're learning from everything that we do and the trickle down and trickle up effect, so to speak, which isn't necessarily a thing. But when you make a set of speakers that's phenomenally better than the last generation, the big brother's got to step up his game. And that's what Plutonium's doing right now. So we've got great drivers, great amplifiers that, are still in the mindset of that audiophile world to detail accuracy and everything along those lines, but maybe, again, not necessarily at the price point of an Ultra, or, this is a complete line as it sits right now. So these products can be mixed and matched with Ultra. You could step down and run the Plutonium 10 with the detail and accuracy that it has with the Ultra the Ultra T30 and the K165, and make a phenomenal 2-way build. You can mix and match in some Plutonium amplifiers for maybe your subwoofer application, and the Ultra A2 for your mid-range or for your tweeter, and another maybe a reference 2 for your mid-bass. So again, these lines are designed to work with each other, but also can work on their own. So again, the Plutonium is just a phenomenal series of, again, award-winning drivers and amplifiers to be able to support that audiophile thought process that Ground Zero lives by. We are a high-end audio company.
Yeah, for sure on that, Jacob. And the product lines, like there are complete lines, and it gives you those steps for the customer. I know we're talking high end audiophile, but even within that high level, there's still levels.
Exactly.
Certainly, and Ground Zero's different product lines let you hit that proper level for the customer for sure.
Yeah, so plutonium, the next step down, this is our, again, award-winning uranium line. So if you're noticing a theme here that we really pride ourselves on being able to say that, the industry is accepting of these products as the best of the best or the best of what they are. So we've got here the uranium line, again, all new, with the exception of the amplifiers, but there are some new of those coming that are kind of that trickle down thought process from the Ultra A2 down into the uranium line. I mean, this is one of my favorite series of amps, and you'll see a little bit more about it here in a minute. But the cool thing about this series is it's not bank breaking. So you're going to be able to build a gnarly, very versatile build with the mindset of sound quality and be able to still kind of rock out, have fun with it. I mean, the mid-bass driver, as you saw in the video, highest of quality components that fit in that need, that desire. You see the mid-range in this picture. It's kind of an odd duck. It's I've got one here with me. It's a 55 millimeter dome mid. So not only in this line do we have a custom one-off weird love 'em or hate 'em type driver, but we've also maintained that traditional car audio mindset. So we've got an 80 millimeter mid range that can pair very well with this. We've got a 60 millimeter full range that works as a phenomenal higher frequency mid range driver. So we kind of shift that bandwidth up a little bit and help be able to refocus the car. So not only is this a really cool audiophile line, it's actually very complete in giving you some versatility in transitioning or building a very fun, cost-effective, gnarly audiophile or SQ build for your customer. The subwoofers available 8, 10, and 12. Again, really phenomenal. They're quick, they're accurate. They can dig if they need to. If you have the luxury of going to SEMA, come find us. You can hear one of these subs in absolutely the weirdest build that we've kind of assembled. And it's phenomenal. It's so crazy how fun that 8 is to listen to in a tiny sealed enclosure buried in the front of a center console in a C10 pickup. Cough, cough, Lucy, cough, cough. So it's really fun. Again, this is one of my favorite product lines. And as you saw in the video, we were super geeked to be able to talk about it. And I know, Jaren, you guys have gained some traction, I believe, in Canada with the uranium line as kind of a starting point, right?
Yeah, it's definitely a starting point for the audiophile, and with the redesign that you guys have recently done and kind of split the components a la carte, we're definitely seeing a trend of that more so in the industry where you're picking, okay, I want a 3-way setup, and it gives different options for the customer. And Ground Zero definitely saw that and listen to what customers we're having to say about that. Like, hey, I want the ability to do a 3-way kit. I want the ability to do this driver and then maybe step up into a different tweeter and a different lineup or something. The subs, the options 8, 10, and 12 are definitely huge. And again, it's Ground Zero, that huge lineup, and there's options there. And that's what makes it great to have in your store and to run a store with. It's options, not they're telling you, here's a speaker set, put it in, this is all you have. Fit it in the car. We know cars are different, and we know we got to fit them in there.
Yep, absolutely. And that's for us one of the big things is just being able to say, we listen to the retailers. We understand what's going on. I don't know how many times we've all seen it. You walk into an install bay, there's a stack of passives sitting there. That retailer had to buy those. And that's not necessarily cool. Exactly. So we've really given the retailers and dealers and consumers the ability to custom tailor and fine tune, as I always say, everything they could possibly want. So that's kind of what we've got. I mean, again, this isn't the full lineup. This is just the crash course and what we consider kind of our higher end SQ product line. And this is what we have fun with. This is why we're all here.
Amazing.
I know you're gonna have questions, Ben.
I do. So I'm going to give you a chance to break. We have another video. You pointed it out. on the Uranium series. We've got a video talking about those amplifiers that Jacob was just describing. When we come back, let's talk about what we learned today.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Tommy Spears, here with Elias Ventura with Ground Zero USA. And today we just want to go over the Ground Zero Uranium lineup.
With the Uranium line, we have amplifiers, we have speakers, and we also have subwoofers. And we've been talking about the Uranium line for a couple weeks in recent time, and we're really excited to be diving more into detail with this line. So when it comes to the Uranium amplifiers, we have a 6-channel, a 4-channel, and a 2-channel. Starting off with a 6-channel, you can use this creatively in so many different ways. You can run a front stage fully active setup. You can run this in a left and right setup. You can run this in a 5-channel mode, so say front and rear and sub. So creatively, a lot of configurations that one can use the 6-channel for. The 4-channel is your traditional 4-channel. 2-channel, you can bridge it for sub, or you can run mid-woofers with a little bit more power. The 6-channel, it's going to give you 4x110 and 2x160 on the configuration at 4 ohms. Okay, if one wanted to do a little bit more power, you can do 4x160 and 2x280 on this 6-channel amplifier. On the 4-channel amp that we don't have here, you're going to have 4x110 or 4x190, which is very beefy, so a lot of possibilities there. On the 2-channel, which is this guy here, you can do this in a 4, 2 ohm, and 1 ohm configuration. So on a 4 ohm, you have a 2x180. On a 2 ohm, you have 2x320, and bridged at 1, you have 2x500. So very beefy 2-channel amplifier here.
Another thing is, I personally use 2 of the 6 channels in my car. You've probably seen it in some featured videos before, and it's amazing sound. I love the warmth and the feel of the music when it's playing. So again, not to repeat myself, but I'm going to, it's an amazing sound. Elias, you are actually going to be using some of this, actually pretty much everything in an upcoming build for you. So why don't you tell us about what you're doing?
Yeah, so what I'm going to be doing is using a 6-channel for my front stage and two channels for my subwoofers. I'm going to be running 2 12s and utilizing the Uranium 3-way fully active on the 6-channel amplifier here. And one thing to add to what you said, some of the things that I like of the amplifier is the clean, smooth look. You'll also have the engraved Ground Zero logo. So a very good looking amplifier. The finish on this, it's like a very copperish, goldish look. It's going to be very unique to its own, you know, color and finish. All right, guys, so talking about the Uranium subwoofer line, we offer 3 different size options. We offer a 300 watt 8-inch sub. We offer a 450 watt 10-inch sub, and we offer a 600 watt 12-inch sub, all available in a dual 2 ohm configuration.
We're real excited about the new Uranium lineup, so stay tuned. Keep an eye out on our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and also at groundzerousa.com, because we'll be keeping you updated with current build progress with Elias's Mustang. Have a good day.
Where do I begin? All right.
Places.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to start right from the top. Let's talk about the Ultra series of products. All right. I'm correcting myself. Ultra series. One word. I wrote down one word here. Unapologetic. This is the word I have for this. When I'm looking at a tweeter the size of most that could looks like a subwoofer if you look at it real quick, it's so big. I mean, this is not designed, for the installer to have an easy time. They don't care. It's obvious. They do not care. They're saying, in a car environment, this is the best tweeter we can make. Yep. It's huge. Yep. Yes to all. Not my job to fit it in. That's your job to fit it in. But is this going to sound like nothing you've ever heard before? You better, you betcha. So unapologetic. And, there's different ways of doing high end, right? There's form factor. That's one way to look at it, right? This is not form factor. This is about what do we need to do to produce a certain result, regardless of application to an extent. Like we're not talking about something that's ridiculous over top. But let's be honest, I don't think I've ever seen a tweeter in the industry that's even close to being that beefy. That's just me. I have not seen one. So that already sets the tone for what Ultra is all about. And I think Jaron said best, they're build it and they will come. Ground Zero, I'm going to take a step back. Ground Zero for me is a great opportunity for dealers. It's not a legacy brand within the US like a lot of the brand name marketing brands that have been around for a long time. It's kind of fresh. It's kind of new. I don't want to say it's underground because it's not underground. But if I was a dealer and I want to put my stamp, my signature on, backing my name and partnering up with certain brands that I could really grow with in my region, I feel Ground Zero presents a very good opportunity. Because to your point, Jacob, we can spend 5 hours talking about the catalog. Today we're only talking about the upper part. But whether you have an SQ guy or a street guy, or maybe you had that street guy and he's coming in and he's a little bit older, he changed cars, he goes, man, I want to, you could step up. There's so many different things you could do with this. So unapologetic and build it and they will come. Now, let me talk about this amplifier. So first of all, wow. I mean, that is hardcore 2-channel goodness in a chassis for a car.
I know the next 2 words that are going to come out of your mouth.
What do you think they are?
Liquid cooling.
So yeah, I was just gonna go there. So you're right. I think that is wicked cool. Is it old school? Sort of, but not really, because I build custom PCs and stuff like that, and liquid cooling is what it's all about. And if I was doing it, I'd have to do that fluorescent glow liquid cool agent in there and somehow build it throughout. But anyways, having said that, before we even get into the cooling, I want to talk about the design. Like, it's funny. The more you put a price on exquisitely built equipment, the less bells and whistles and gadgets you actually get. And this is a perfect example of that. You look at audiophile home grade stuff, like some of the most expensive stuff on the planet barely has a knob.
Right, yeah, it turns on and turns off. And
pretty much. And if it has a knob, man, do you feel that knob? Like, it's click, you know what I mean? Like, and you feel good about it. I haven't touched those knobs, but I have a feeling that's the feeling I would get if I were to play with those knobs. Now, from a system build standpoint, now let's get serious for a second. What is Ground Zero's mentality or philosophy when it came to this series from a system build standpoint? Because right now it's a tweet and a mid-range and a 2-channel. So I just want to hear where you think this is going or what they're expecting you to do with this.
Well, the big thing is if you look at the grand scheme of audiophile, so let's call it what it is. An amplifier like this was never designed for mid-bass. If you look at any of the, I would say, extremely high-end, crazy, ridiculous amplifiers, you just don't see something like this being utilized on a mid-bass driver or a sub. So really what they did is they built the parts that need to be crazy, ridiculous, special, because that's what you hear. That's not necessarily what you feel. So, an A2 running on a custom hand-built passive network for a tweet mid-bass combination can be a phenomenal build in the right application. You take an A2 and pair it up with the tweeters. You take a Plutonium 2 or the reference 2 and pair it up with your mid-bass drivers so you can get that additional power. Now you've got the bias to Class A on the tweeter to be able to say, hey, this is exactly the reproduction of sound that this needs to be. The transition in quality isn't a step down into the reference 2s. So you're not really stepping down. We've just really built specialty products to work with specialty equipment in the applications where you want the best of the best for that application.
So you're not recommending I get 2 of those Ultras and bi-amp or have an active 2-way set up front?
Oh, you can absolutely do that. If 50 watts a channel is going to be perfect for your SQ audiophile build, I have zero issues recommending that. I also know that a lot of audiophiles still have that slight bit of car audio, geek in them. So yeah, you might want a little bit more. You might want something where you might not be able to take advantage of the full adjustment of the bias. So you might not be taking full advantage of the amplifier running it on mid-bass. Not that there's any slouch in that, not there's any issues. You can absolutely use an A2 in that application. But like I said, this is a series of parts that are designed to work in conjunction with other
It's a
things
system.
that already
It's
exist.
truly a system
Correct.
that was designed specifically to work in conjunction with one another.
Yes, it's designed to work in conjunction with one another. It's also designed to work in conjunction with other products from our line.
Right.
So really, you have the ability to sit there and talk to, if you're a retailer and you're talking to your client, they're going to steer you in the right way. And now you've got a complete arsenal of products to be able to say, hey, if what you want is, as you mentioned, unapologetic, uncompromising, unnecessary for necessary's sake, but necessary at the same time, you now have that ability to give that customer that audio package.
Yeah, and this is all about qualifying the customer, and those who know how to sell this type of great stuff know and do it really well. And there's a bunch of dealers that want to get there, and they just have to figure out, how to bridge that gap to be able to sell it. It's like anything, regardless of selling technology, home audio or car audio, you have to have the setup in your shop with your staff, with the demo to be able to do it and be confident doing it. Nobody is going to drop big money on gear if you're not confident and have that literally well-rehearsed presentation.
Well, and the cool thing about us is you're not just looking at Ultra. So
no, exactly what I was going to get to next.
You geek them out on Ultra, and then you find out that maybe it's not going to work. Cool. You've got these other really gnarly SQ and audiophile styles of product that you can mix and match and work between to get your customer exactly what they've got or what they need, what they've got the ability to do, or what they have to do to be able to get them that solution that they want.
So which amp is in Tommy's car?
So the second video that you saw is the first iteration of that build. That is the actual build that I spec'd out for one of my personal vehicles,
right?
Which decided to, no longer start. So we repurposed it to Tommy's car. And so in Tommy's car, there were two of the uranium 6 channels on the original build.
Right.
So we had a 6 channel for the left side and a 6 channel for the right side. So we took advantage of bias a little bit differently. We took advantage of power allocation a little bit differently. And he toured the country with that build. Round 2 in that car is all plutonium. So we yanked out the 2 uranium amplifiers and put in.
So now you see why I'm asking you the question. Okay, see, I'm paying attention. All right.
Absolutely.
So this is why I brought this up. The original configuration, which I believe were the plutonium amps, reference. No.
Uraniums.
So the cool copper, old school looking ones are
plutonium.
So I want to make a comment about
those are the reference. So those are like this little guy right here.
Yeah,
the absolutely beautiful. Like
I need to comment about that.
Yeah,
those are so old school refined. It's not even funny. Like they don't build amps like that anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like that's like throwback to the amps I used to dream about having. Do you know what I'm saying? And they're huge, and I don't care that they're huge. It's fine.
Oh, yeah, the 6 channel.
I saw the 6 channel. I was like, wow, okay, they're not joking. Like that is. Again, unapologetic. I kind of like this word for ground zero right now, but again, reflective in that amplifier there, the Tiffany connectors, everything about it is old school cool, and you're getting your value, your money's worth for it, especially when you hook it up to the components that go with. Now, I've been reading some articles and reviews ever since we started talking, and you talk about these ISA awards and stuff like that, and some of the terms that I hear when it comes to ground zero was not exactly what I was expecting. And let me explain. When I first heard of ground zero and I started seeing images coming out of Europe, it was a lot of pro and a lot of kind of, I guess it's pro. Pro is what I seen visually. Then I got to know you guys, and I got to know Jared, and we started diving into it. Then I started going into these forums, and man, the drivers are nothing to joke about. And we didn't spend a lot of time on subwoofers today, but my question is, if I was to build an audiophile type system, what subwoofers within your range would you recommend?
Realistically, any of them. And one of the ways that we've really been able to translate what ground zero does is that daily listener, that SQ, that pro or pro SQ, and just SPL. So we kind of cover all of those bases. So part of it goes back to the conversation you asked about qualifying. Audiophile is an interesting term to the consumer. Sound quality is an interesting term to the consumer because they might tell you, I'm interested in sound quality, and they're pointing to a, plutonium XX max gnarly off the wall SPL sub, and they're like, but that sounds really good, right? And I'm like, well yeah, but it's not the plutonium 10 that you would put with an SQ build. So any of the uranium, plutonium, there's even a reference 250 10-inch sub that's absolutely beautiful. It's detailed, it's accurate. So again, to me, it all goes down to qualifying. If you want the customer that wants that perfectly linear build where everything is exactly as it should be, you could pair up speakers with the drivers and the subwoofers that they go with. So you could build an all uranium build. You could build an all plutonium build. You could build an all reference / pure build, and pair it with products in like categories. You can also kind of mix and match between those. But if you've got a customer that says, look, I want detail, I want accuracy, I want clarity, but maybe I want a little bit more sub, a lot of our SQ stuff will get you there. Or you could mix in like a hydrogen sub, for example, which is extremely musical, works incredibly well in a sealed or vented enclosure. So you could take a vented enclosure, tune it down to 32, 34 hertz, where, it almost behaves like a sealed box with a little bit more emphasis in a certain frequency range, and be able to still maintain detail, accuracy, musicality, speed, and mix that in with like a uranium build or a plutonium build. So Tommy's car, for example, is a very interesting build because we needed to get him a little bit more of that low end oomph, which is why there's 2 10s in it. If it was strictly a sound quality car, I mean, heck, we could have taken one of those 10s, thrown it in a small sealed enclosure in the front footwell, had everything in front of you, and boom, we just built something absolutely incredible. But it's still his daily. It's still got to be a little bit more fun. So when he pops in, when he goes from Norah Jones to Sublime, it's still fun. It's still exciting, even though it is biased on an SQ build. And that is really the reason why you see that car built all plutonium, but 4 amplifiers, 2 subs. I mean, I don't want to say we drove the price up, but we qualified the customer. We built him what he needed with the equipment that we really wanted to kind of show off. And we built a really fun car.
Jaron, just pivoting to you real quick. You've had a little bit of time now interacting with dealers when it comes to Ground Zero. Like, what are some of the feedback you want to share so other dealers here as well with their experience with Ground Zero so far?
Their experience with Ground Zero is just the amazing build quality of it. Anyone that sees their product, starts hearing their product, and installs it is just wowed by it. And then it is a little overwhelming at first. I can certainly understand dealers when you get hit with that catalog and you're like, what do I do with all these product lines? But then you start learning it and understanding the different levels and stuff. And they lay it out very well in the different series that they've named throughout it. And you can kind of follow that for dealers, and where you need to go for certain series for certain customers. And it's, again, qualifying the customer. Any customer can be a sound quality customer, I think. It's just different levels and different expectations. And that's why we definitely need to qualify a customer, because like Jacob said, in Tommy's car, they could have done a 10 up front and had a very, very audiophile build, but that's not necessarily what Tommy's listening tastes would be. Tommy wants something.
Tommy likes Norah Jones.
He likes Norah Jones.
He also likes Sublime. So it's, what do you do?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, as much as we want to talk about audiophiles and everything, there's still, everyone has their own listening tastes for sure. So what Jacob would listen to in his car would be different from what I would listen to or you would listen to.
For sure.
So,
okay. Final message, Jacob, like just to round it out. I mean, if we got dealers tuning in, they may be curious or, hungry for something fresh, something that can satisfy that upper echelon market, but also, obviously, as we've said many times, the full range. What message do you have for dealer to try out Ground Zero and give it a shot?
I would almost relate it to kind of the way that I was raised. You get kids that are like, I don't like that. I won't eat that. I don't like it. Have you ever tried it? Well, no, I just don't like it. If I had ever said that to my parents, I'd have gotten kicked square in the tail.
I was just going to say, but
and that's the thing. So the way that I was raised was, don't knock it till you try it. You might be missing out on something that is now your newfound favorite. My mom will tell this story all the time. I came home one day from school. They're having a pate night. A child does not look at pate and goes, that looks amazing. But I will kid you not, it's one of my, a charcuterie board or a pate night is one of my favorites to do. So as a child, you don't know until you try it. And Ground Zero, I always feel, is that brand that, like you said, it's not new. We've been around for going on 30 years internationally. We started in the US. A lot of guys are seeing it as a throwback to SPL. So they're thinking, oh, it's an SPL company. Like you had mentioned, oh, it's Pro Gear. And then I started digging in. It really is one of those brands that it will and does appeal. My personal preferences, or my personal thought is, there is something in this line that will appeal to everybody. And your shop might not necessarily be focused towards everybody, but what happens when you get that customer that wants you specifically to do work? Ground Zero's got a product that will help fill that need, even if it's not necessarily your cup of tea. But you'll never know until you try the brand, until you get your feet wet. All of the cliches that go along with that mentality. So for me, I always recommend giving brands a try, whether it's Ground Zero or some of the other extreme audiophile brands that you're going to have featured this month. We all make phenomenal product. It might not be for everybody's personal tastes, as Ben, you and I have talked about in the past, but don't knock it till you try it. Have fun with it. Give it a whirl and see what you think, because I guarantee you there will be something, or a series, or a category that Ground Zero focuses towards that you as a retailer is going to love. So it's definitely the brand for me that can cater to everything. We have a lot of fun with all the products, but we understand the catalog, and that's where we really shine, is the catalog in full. So if my message is anything, it's don't say you don't like it, or don't knock it till you try it. You will find something that you absolutely love.
There it is. Try it. Jacob, we can't thank you enough for coming in today and sharing with us some new goodies like the Ultra series and everything else high-end at Ground Zero. And obviously looking forward to having you back on, because we got to talk about pro audio before the end of the year as well. That's another category. So thanks a lot, Jacob.
Not a problem. You guys have a good one.
Take care. Yeah, right. Jared, let's give the people what they want. If you're looking for more information on Ground Zero products, groundzerousa.com is where you find the goodness. Strap in, get out a notepad. There's a lot to go over on that website right there. And new distributor for Ground Zero products in Canada. Jaren's not new, but the distributor is Importel.com. Still talking to the same dude that you were talking to, whenever about Ground Zero. It was Jaren. But yeah, absolutely fantastic offering. And like Jacobs, I want to echo what he says and try it. I'm convinced. I haven't had the chance. I would love to sit in Tommy's car and really give it a strong listen. What about you, Jaren?
Yeah. Anytime you hear it, you're just wowed by it. And Jacob, I think, summed it up really good. Don't knock it till you try it. I think everyone should watch all the Audiophile episodes and gather all the information, and then build 30 different systems in your car.
That's the way to do it.
I think that's only the logical explanation. Okay,
your personal car, before I let you go, what would you put up front and what amp?
Oh, I go Ultra all the way.
Oh man, I wish. All right,
go big or go home, right?
Big or go home. I'll be honest; those reference ones just kick it old school for me. I just love the look and feel of those.
Those are
it's almost like the sound is secondary. I say that a lot, but when an amp looks that good, it's guaranteed to sound good to that person. That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? All right. Yeah. Take care, sir.
Thanks, man.
Until next time. All right. Audiophile sessions here on CMA Networks are off to an amazing start. I want to thank Jacob from Ground Zero coming in today. Now, make sure you stay locked here right on CMA Networks, because we've got the Audiophile sessions. No, not the MasterTech Expo. Let's go back to the Audiophile sessions real quick. Audiophile sessions. Do we have that? No, we don't. Doesn't matter. Keep it locked here on CMA Networks right through till November, because we're all about audiophile brands right through. So that's what we're going to be talking about. If you don't like high-end audio, look somewhere else. Now, when you're on the website, obviously we've got an amazing contest going on. Let's bring that back. MasterTech Expo. We're giving away a opportunity to get to MasterTech Expo. One winner from the US, one winner from Canada. All you got to do is get over to cmanetworks.com/giveaway and sign up. It is free, guys. Like, if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? And while you're there, make sure you hit up my man Jacob Brown on his profile on cmanetworks.com. Tons of videos from all the products from Ground Zero and from Import Fest, of course. It's where the 12-volt industry connects. That's it for the CMA Connected, presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
I mean, yeah, it's time about
Stop it.
Today where I'm gonna go
Yo,
topics.
roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to SiriusXM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What?
What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?